Hello. Welcome, everyone.
Hey.
Hello, Amit. Hello, Susan. Lovely seeing you all. Please allow a few minutes more for all the others to join. I think we're missing Mariana. But anyway, lovely seeing you. How has everyone been? I would love to encourage all of you to start our today's session with not only introductions, but maybe sharing what or and how travel or trip or anything that relates to tourism has transformed yourself or just change something or slightly in your life. Of course, I will add my piece to it as well. Who would like to start? Please, if you can, I would encourage you to start also with introducing yourself and where you're from. Susan, maybe yourself.
All right. Yeah. So hello, everyone. And I'm sitting here in Berlin, and finally summer has arrived, and I'm really happy.
How great is
Yeah, we've waited a long time this year. So very good. Yeah. So my name is Susan. Since a couple of months, actually, I'm an advisor to the Transformational Travel Council. And since I am still learning all the processes and everything and all the programs, I said that I would join today and would take the opportunity to listen in into a call like this, because I've never attended one. So to your question, so transformation and travel and how travel affected me. So I have worked in the travel industry for more than 20 years, and I got to travel a lot. And my former employer was Design Hotels, so I also got to travel in style. And yeah, I mean, these travel experiences were great, but actually the ones that were most powerful were the ones where I traveled by myself. And I traveled not in style or less in style. And one story I would like to share was a trip that I did to Jerusalem, because I've always wanted to go to Israel, and I went by myself. Of course, I had some friends who connected me to others, but that trip really transformed me, because it was not only from a spiritual aspect, it connected me to the history of that place and all the energy of that place, but also the people who I met. And a very interesting thing is, I mean, traveling alone as a woman is an interesting thing, and you have to be very careful. But I was so trusting to everything that happened to me. So I opened up to the culture, I opened up to the people, I opened up to the spirits that were around me. And that was actually what transformed me, because I met the most amazing people. I learned so much about the culture and all the richness of this country. And I really returned home a different person. And that is, I'm thinking a lot about this, and it would be a great wish for me to return. Every time I have this wish, something happens, and then you look at the news and you're like, maybe not this time. So I really hope for all of us, and especially for that beautiful country, to find peace and to be able to welcome people again, and to encourage more transformational experiences. So this is my little story to start with.
Thank you, Susan, for sharing.
Awesome.
What I find particularly interesting, of course, it's all interesting. Traveling from work can also end up, we can also end up in situations that make us grow and change and connect deeply to other peers and colleagues, and in many different ways. But I think what you said and what I find key is this element of vulnerability. and that you just trusted and you went. It doesn't mean that transformational travel can only happen if we travel by ourselves, I reckon, but this element of just, letting go and going somewhere with trust, and to be really like vulnerable and connecting to places on that level, I think it's very necessary. I think we need to trust to not only connect, not only ourselves, but also the others, the experience, and just let it guide us. And I think it was beautiful. And I really wish you so that you can come back there or go somewhere else,
Yes.
Maybe without planning it too much either. Just follow your guardians and the spirits around there, as you said.
Yes.
Thank you very much for sharing this.
Pleasure.
Gentlemen, who would like to go next?
Sure, I can go.
Okay, Amit.
Hey, guys, I'm Amit. I'm the founder at postcard.travel. So this is, unfortunately, I don't come from a travel background. I'm more of a product guy. This is my 5th startup, but I think I was moved by travel. I think some of the most interesting people I've met is through travel. It's been more commercial for me as far, but I think, talking to more and more people who have kind of been transformed in the travel space kind of attracted me to the industry. So what we do is Postcard is a platform. It's a travel storytelling platform. And our mission is to really change the world through travel stories. And we believe that, we bring together travel brands and travelers and connect them through stories. And these are stories about people, culture, history, heritage. And we truly believe, my personal take is we all talk about travel and sustainable travel and responsible travel and all that. But I feel that, it's a great idea, but to really get to the heart of people, I think stories is a great way, because once people connect emotionally to a destination and interesting people around them, they sort of build a personal bond with different destinations. So I'm kind of new to the travel space, but I'm very optimistic that, I'm hopefully going to be a part of the transformation journey as well, and hopefully play an impact to change the world. Yeah.
Oh, that was beautiful as well. I mean, thank you very much for saying so. And when I was listening to you, I thought about something that I often hear from people, that it's really hard to convince somebody to do something better or differently just by saying so. But the stories is what usually, or metaphors, do the work much better, because it's not imposing, it's not pushing, it's not pressurizing, but it's just making people connect to the idea much better, just by the processes they're going through by themselves. Just let me close my window, because I have a quite crowded, busy road next to me, and I get a feeling you can hear it. I hope it's gonna be better now. So thank you very much for sharing. I'm sure you are already, Amit, contributing to that transformation, one person at a time. And I'm sure all the other readers and receivers of your audience of what you're doing. I visited your website, so I know this quite some time ago already. And I know there's quite a few beautiful stories there that I'm sure are going to inspire many people. We have Thank you. We have another person joining, so I will just shortly explain where we are at to Lars.
I spoke with Lars yesterday.
Lars, hello. How are you?
Hi.
Hello,
hey, Lars. How are you?
Hey, Amit, as promised, you're here. Good to see you.
We were speaking about our meeting today.
Cool. Nice. So I am late again. It feels so bad. The last time I came late, that's why I said I wanted to be there from the beginning today. And but now at least I'm open, and thanks for having me one more time. I promise.
I know, I'm very surprised. We're gonna be discussing similar things. However, the first part is definitely gonna be different, as we have different people. Lars, so we are just shortly going through like short introductions to who we are, and I've just suggested so that we discuss or share why and not why, how travel changed you. It can be any really way possible. Like, how did travel transform something within yourself or in your life? It can be, a very small thing, doesn't matter. But whatever comes to your heart and mind first, that would be really lovely. We would love to hear about it. And we just had Susan sharing about her wonderful experience in Jerusalem. Susan has been in the industry for over 20 years, having worked with design hotels, but she mentioned the travel that she did by herself, which was not that polished or that perfect as she used to go on her work trips. And that trip is what she remembered the best about it, when she really allowed vulnerability and unexpected to happen. And she had some lovely time. And also Amit shared with us about his project about stories and sharing the travel stories with people, and using this as a mean to transform, to connect people with destinations, with places, just through those stories. So just so that you get a fit, so that you feel like you have not missed that much. Of course, it's not the same when I'm paraphrasing, but anyway. How about you, Anthony?
Yeah, I'll go. And Amit, I'm recognizing your name and also postcard.travel. And you went to Carnegie Mellon University, didn't you?
Yes, that's right. Are you an alum?
I am, yes. And
awesome.
You sent me a message on LinkedIn, and I just looked it up because I recognized the name, and then I looked it up, and I apologize, I never responded. But we've got a chance to connect.
We were meant to connect here, right?
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of funny. We both went to the same school in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Talk about a small world. When you look at the global nature of this phone call, to have gone to the same school, that's pretty funny. So
awesome.
So my story a little bit starts, or my travel oriented story kind of does start at Carnegie Mellon. I started a company while I was there as well. Apparently entrepreneurs come out of Carnegie Mellon pretty often. I started a business, ran that company for about 8 years total, as the CEO and co-founder. And then shortly after parting ways with that business in early 2020, I joined a private equity firm and really got thrown into a different style of business, being an operating partner at a private equity owned company. I had one stint as a chief transformation officer. I can assure you it was a different type of transformation than the type that we're talking about, with a refrigeration company, totally random industry. And then I got thrown into a CEO role at another company in New York City. So I was kind of bouncing around multiple positions, being thrown in the heat of business fire. And all the while, stress and anxiety certainly were taking a hold of me. And I was starting to face some pretty serious levels of work-induced burnout. I really hit that place that now honestly is getting a lot of like notoriety and whatnot in the world, especially due to COVID and people working at home and not having that same type of escape that we maybe once had. And of course, not being able to travel has contributed to that also. But burnout rates obviously are extremely high right now. And in January of this year, I actually parted ways with the private equity firm, and I took a month sort of sabbatical in a way. And I lived in a van, and I traveled like the southwestern part of the country. And, I had been thinking about the fact that I didn't feel quite right living the way that I was living within the businesses that I ran, and almost down to like a biological human perspective. I just didn't feel like I was living the way that I'm biologically like intended to live. And it was really missing, I think, a lot of like mindfulness and a connection with nature and whatnot. And so all of these thoughts really led me to that inciting incident where I went on my own trip. And then shortly after, I really have started to sink my teeth into my now company, which is called Recal Travel, which Recal is short for recalibrate. And I believe that people, especially facing stress and anxiety and work-induced burnout, they actually need to use travel and use connection with nature, use mindfulness, use physical activity to recalibrate themselves top to bottom from their mind and their body. And those are the pieces that I'm kind of bringing together, is that connection to nature, connection to mindfulness, connection to physical activity, and connection with the places that we're traveling, bringing them all together to, hopefully shed people of their, work-induced burnout. So that's my mission and my goal. And I think it aligns perfectly with what everyone does here at Transformational Travel Council. So
I think so much. Thank you for sharing, Anthony. What a journey. Wow. Just curious to hear what's coming. There's so many changes, so many turns, but well, look where you are. Congratulations, and thank you for sharing, for your vulnerability. It's basically, I don't know how it works for you, Suzanne, because you've also been connected to quite a few of us from the council, but this is very important element of it. Like, if there is something that distinguishes us from other trade organizations or travel conferences and so on, it's definitely this sense of real connections being made. And by real, I mean vulnerable as well. Like, this community, of course, it's about business and doing business with like-minded people, using certain type of design for your trips and stays and processes with your clients. But more than anything, as a place for all of us travel professionals to come together and get to know each other, support, engage, and share, just like you did. This is what I personally really, really appreciate with this community. I feel very humbled and honored to be working with people like you. Lars, thank you very much, Anthony, again. Lars, would you like to say a few words and tell us your story?
Thanks. Well, Anthony, sorry I had to get up. I had to let my son in. It was not impolite, because I think, as she also said, I think it's great to share these stories. And I obviously had now this 1 minute to think about what to say about travel, and I wanted to take the opportunity, and if you allow me, because actually you kind of opened the door there, Anthony, for that. It's if you allow me to mention the experience of travel, it was actually, I want to do it the other way around. It was the emotions of the last 15 months not traveling that maybe showed me the difference of how fucking rich we lived before. I mean, it was just, we don't notice. It's just like, man, we had everything, honestly. I mean, it's like we were spoiled, and we never had any lack of anything. And I remember in your very first call, Mona, you were presenting, minorities, you were young female leaders, and you were saying what were your struggles. And I was laughing. I mean, I'm a 50-year-old man in the European hospitality industry. I never had to struggle in my life. And so I just said that, this was obviously a big hit in the beginning, and the first months were a nightmare, because you live, I'm an entrepreneur, so my livelihood financially and giving food to my family depends on people moving. And so losing the strengths of travel, using, as Anthony said, this regeneration of ourselves, which we just did, and we had amazing trips to amazing hosts. And suddenly that whole thing turned around, because I needed to learn to connect to people online. By the way, I connected to some amazing people from design hotels, Suzanne. I just Felix lives around the corner from me. Radavero, I don't know if you know him still. And we went out for wine, and then when it was possible again. But so what I had to learn, that there was a different way of connection, because I was always believing that we need to sit in the same room to feel, and suddenly we set up this whole concept around singular places, and we met so many outstanding people like you that are here. Amit, for example, we never met, and we had the chat that was just like old friends, and I needed to learn this way to connect. And it was in the darkest moment that all this kind of connections, I'm the happiest man I've ever been with 50 years. This whole Corona pandemic saved me a midlife crisis. It made me probably the best father in the world, isn't it, Nico? Never spent so much time with him. We are bankrupt, 4 out of 5 companies, but we'll have to do something about it. But I never felt so secure about being on the right way, and that's probably the transformation travel that I needed. So and really, I am I was chasing you, Mona, on LinkedIn because I had this short call the last time. I finally figured when one scrolls to the bottom of the page how to become an ally. We will definitely join this program. So I can only congratulate what you guys did, and the level of people you bring together is astonishing. It's always very interesting. We had, the networking is invaluable, I have to say. I can only, like, if anybody here still thinks about it, it's invaluable. I mean, Amit and I, we know Shoba from India, Bose, and these kind of people, you know, if you get the luck in life to meet them, that's it, paid for. So thanks for listening to that. But you pushed me to speak about it, so here it is.
This is actually one of the things I enjoy the most in life, to invite people to speak up. And anyway, thank you very much, Lars, for sharing and for coming again as well, and for all your kind words. I was at the brink of, I'm very easily emotional, quite sensible, so it really touched me. Thank you very, very much. It's so rewarding, and feel more than invited to join us. And there is actually, this is a very interesting moment to hold the conversation like this, as we are about to launch our revamped, another version of our Allyship, which is another name for membership, but we just like it better because it brings the element of engagement, connection, interconnectedness, rather than just, you know, trade association with networking business meetings. But anyway, so and I'm only saying about it now because this revamp program will offer even more opportunities to connect by regions and by sectors. And so, for example, Shoba is already heading the India and Nepal hub. However, this is going to change the formula slightly. And we're also going to have a different hubs for Europe, Latin America, North America, Middle East, East Asia, Southeast Asia, Africa, basic Australia and Oceania, and those are going to happen every other month for 1.5 hours. And this will be not only for regional allies. No. It's going to be open to anyone. I mean, to all the allies. And we will be featuring our local allies product that relates to transformational travel, but also allow for networking in an organized way. So we will have some Zoom breakup rooms with guided questions, with very small groups, so that people really not only get together, 20 of us, because sometimes people, as you know, are shy. Not everyone speaks up. And we want to encourage people to really start getting to know each other and talk business. So we want to have some more tailored audience and topics as well. We're also going to be introducing a few very interesting sector-specific hubs, again, happening every other month, so 6 a year, headed by our directors, ambassadors, and advisors in 5 different segments. For now, we're probably going to develop that curriculum later. And those will include, we're going to have one about conscious luxury, which is going to be hosted by, of course, Shova, but also Sylvia Pishi, who are just wonderful and so passionate about conscious and alternative forms of luxury. We're going to have another one about conscious leadership with the founder of and the leader of B Corp in Africa and in South Africa and East Africa as well, with Tom Fells, who used to be a CEO of Singita. Very interesting person. He's very much into conscious leadership, and this all is going to be available to our allies, complimentary, of course. I mean, in the form as a benefit, as a feature of the allyship. We're also going to have another one for conservation, led by our conservation expert Jeff Munterfing from Namibia, who works at the university there and also runs the organization called Save the Rhino there. Very, very experienced guy. And then we're going to have another one for transformative wellness specialists, hosted by a co-founder of Global Wellness Summit, very experienced lady, and our director, Sally Frankel. We're going to have another one, which I think is going to be of interest to some of you. It's called Impactful Adventure with Kurt Kutai, who is the founder of Wildlife Adventures. Again, a few decades of experience, one of the pioneers of adventure travel in the world. So there's quite a few very interesting, I'm very excited, hubs, regular events with networking opportunities coming along. Some other benefits that are new include, I should probably mention that at the end and let my presentation start, but we already started talking about it. So, and I think you might find it interesting. So some of the new events will include also the bi-monthly sales and marketing session with our sales and marketing director, Amy, who will be advising how to sell it, how to market this kind of tourism, which is not that easy to many. We're also going to have another session with Tanner, our Director of Innovation and Design, who runs our curriculum of courses. So Tanner will be once a month, is going to be hosting a practical session in which, of course, available to all the allies, in which we're going to be discussing how we can make use and apply the theoretical background of transformational travel, scientific background into your daily operations, into your company, into your work. So this is another new event coming up this month. And also I will be providing 2 one-hour sessions per year to every ally who is interested. And I will be providing consultation, introductions, and we'll give some special love and care to all our allies so that everyone feels connected and well taken care of, I hope. So those are just of the few new features coming along on June 15th. There's going to be a marketing campaign. I hope you're going to get to hear something about it and from our allies. But just wanted to give you some updates because this actually relates to what we are talking about. So I would like maybe to start because I know some of you have not heard that before. So let me start the presentation and I will be jumping. Please let me know if something is just too obvious or you would prefer to skip it. But the presentation that I prepared some time ago is quite robust. However, I think it gives quite a comprehensive introduction to what the Transformational Travel is and what Transformational Travel Council does and where it aims at. So I will just gonna be sharing my screen now with you. So here we go. And this quote, I think it's quite special in terms of how it embodies the idea behind the transformational travel as such. It says it's from Joseph Campbell, one of the biggest mythologists and anthropologists of all the times, the author of the Heroes of the Thousand Faces and the monomyth of the hero journey, which we of course source a lot from in our work. And it goes, the goal of life is to make your heartbeat match the beat of the universe, to match your nature with nature. And I think it's quite beautiful because it's the whole essence. Like, let's imagine the world when people, as you just said, connected to the places, nature, people, to that way, so that, you know, they really find out that we are all one. So we are all interconnected. How would we even think about hurting and harming this beautiful world if we felt deep down that we are one, that our nature is nature? Just wanted to share it with you. And I haven't taken a chance to say something about myself. I don't want to take too much time either. But for me, I started travel when I was very young. I was scout since I was 4. I always enjoyed being in nature, and I was lucky enough to be born in the mountains in the south of Poland. However, when I graduated from the university, I started traveling independently and assisted, and for a very long time, mostly hitchhiking. I was just after graduating school. I didn't have that much savings. I was working as a waitress to start to be able to travel, and then I departed, and I never came back for 7 years. And I hitchhiked, and I cycled through continents, and this connected me to the people so much and made me realize that all that I have been studying at the economics and politics, I always wanted to work in humanitarian department, for UN. This was always my mission, to help people, to contribute somehow, even a little bit. But it's not that easy. That environment is quite close and exclusive, the humanitarian department, stuff like this. And I was a little bit discouraged, but I started traveling. And I never finished. Until now, I have no home as such. I don't own a car. I just keep moving, and I live in different places constantly. And I was very lucky to connect to people on a very profound level, as I was very, exactly as Susan said, very vulnerable. I was cycling or hitchhiking. I depended on people. I depended on the water in China or their shelter in Bolivia. And I just fallen in love with this place completely. But more than a place, with its people. And since then, I just knew, I always knew I have to do something for work that connects me to that, you know, that it's my life passion. And since I met Jake in 2018, I just got very much involved with this. And this is like the being so young, I'm already quite lucky to have a job, which is my life. So I just, this is not a pastime for me. This is a pleasure to work here. So, but this is for me something that embodies travel, people, and change, which I'm seeking. So, as you know, the Transformational Travel Council consists of different actors, entities from tourism. They don't necessarily, Amit, as you say, you don't maybe work with tourism as such, but you provide services or products that relates to it, that talks about it. So we have very different, very varied audience and members. Some of them are travel designers, advisors, some own some lodges, hotels, some work with PR and marketing around tourism. Some are parks, some are tourist boards. We have journalists working for the key travel media as well. So basically anyone can become an ally. Ally is just a member. It's just one of us in the name, but those are the types of companies or entities that join. So basically there is just one requirement whenever we talk to people, we really want to make sure that those companies are impact driven and heart centered, and that's really all. And I can assure you that these 300 allies we've got, we were lucky to bring together, are just like that. And I'm sure all of us have been observing that there's so much going on, not only because of the pandemic. However, as we all know, it was quite a big trigger for change, for introspection, for reflection. But we can see that change in different sectors, right? I will try to go quite a little bit quickly because we have so much to go through. But this also, it's not only pandemic that made people think and care about planet and people and the conditions the locals live and host and the relationship and the ethics and the language and our choices. I think it comes from something even deeper than that. We've been already going through some crisis. We might be living quite well, as Lars said, but I think we kind of experienced that we were becoming more and more disconnected from ourselves, from our families, from our society. And I think this is something that we also want to address for transformational travel, because travel in a transformational way has one main goal. And this is to change the habits, is to develop pro-environmental and pro-social behaviors through intentional travel, which can be designed, but we cannot sell it. We cannot promise it ever. What we can do is to raise chances of these processes happening to every single one traveler at a time by introducing some processes, some tools well before they depart, while they travel, but more importantly, when they are already back, to help them in that process. And quite fortunately, the market and the world has started observing that people want something more than just regular holidays. And this is a quotation from one of the luxury magazines that goes, travelers no longer want disconnected programs, classes, treatments, amenities, or itineraries. The new trend is about innovating with true circuits of integrated experiences that lead travelers through an emotional, even theatrical saga of transformation. And this is quite interesting because even economists have noticed that. We're quite lucky to have in our advisory board with Susan Joe Pine, who's the bestseller author and economist, the professor, advisor to the World Bank and the Bank of America, who has been identifying for a decade now that even economics change. And he believes that from the barter economics to the product economics, service economics, then the experience economics arrived. And now he's thinking that what people crave is change, and that the economics now are guided by this demand, which is quite interesting. Just very shortly, where we come from with tourism, it's very interesting to observe that at the very beginning, more or less, the ancient travel, it was driven very much by necessity, by our human ancestors looking for food, migrating for food whenever there was a drought, or they just ran out of the available foods, they kept moving. Then the faith, the tourism related to faith, it's quite an interesting one, because this one already involved the element of connection and vulnerability very much. And it also had a goal, right? To connect to myself, to connect to my God, to connect to others, meeting mentors, meeting obstacles, but going with the idea that this is going to enrich us. So it was not that materialistic. But then around 17th century, scientists believe the leisure travel pop in with this main idea of nothing wrong about it, element of relaxation and fun and leisure to happen. However, this unfortunately resulted in mass tourism that had, as we all know, quite negative components and results. However, this later on resulted in sustainable travel being introduced and the World Tourism Organization being set up in 1975. And then in 2002, if I'm not wrong, sustainable tourism as such was mentioned the first time. I think it was a World Tourism Organization summit somewhere in Dubai or something like that, when the countries actually acknowledged for the first time that this is needed. And then I think it was 1980s where people start talking about experiential travel as well. So the tourism that seeks real encounters, experiencing things. But what's next? Many different quite significant reports and data has been released over the last few years. For example, everyone knows Booking, I believe, and already 2 years back, it found out that nearly 3/4 of all of us, we know that we need to act and do things differently. However, 60% of those, they have no idea how. Amadeus survey from this year says that nearly 70 people want their money to be spent so that it goes back to the community. This report also mentions that people want to travel and will travel in the next decade with smaller footprints but bigger hearts, which is quite encouraging. And I really loved when I read that report from Amadeus. I also have the design hotels mentioned here. I really love the report that they released, the 2020, if I'm not wrong, that called the luxury travelers not customers anymore, but it revealed that people wanted to contribute while they travel. They wanted their trips to have purpose. And this was very, very promising, because this report was more into and within the luxury travel space. And also, whenever I am having conversations with Traveler Made or Virtuoso, they all awaken to that. They all realize that their agents, their buyers are looking for this as well. Not only to get richer materialistically, but also spiritually, which is wonderful. So for us, and the definition that we use, transformational travel is, and this is the key word, is traveling intentionally. And just as you, Anthony said, to stretch, learn, and grow into new ways of being and engaging with the world. And we've been quite lucky and humbled in the same time to be mentioned by some of the world travel magazines over the past few years, which of course helped us as well to scale our impact and get heard a little bit more. So what we are trying to do here with tourism is to go from the place when it's all based in and rooted in expectations, endless entertainment, exploitation, and entitlement towards tourism, which is more ethical, empathetic, equitable, and ecological. So our mission is to bring all the existent and prospective impact-driven professionals together to learn, share, and make business with one another. Why? So that we share and scale this collective impact and support travelers on the way who wish to travel better. So we want to contribute, we want to co-create an ecosystem within tourism, which is inclusive, that is guided by ethical, but values such as ethics, empathy, and things like that. We want to provide a space when like-minded travel professionals can actually work together, make business, and support the travelers to accelerate that process to happen. These are some numbers, but I will skip that. Yeah, I've mentioned some benefits. I mean, yeah, there's quite a few things going on. Of course, the allyship as such, which is our main community, gives or is meant to give visibility, community to learn from, to share, to do business together, but also some action tank, which is a place and container for this new type of products to come up. This is a constant process. This is not a product. Transformational travel is for us is a process, is not a transaction. It's a process that has to be practiced. It's not a passive entertainment either. It's a very complex, but so simple in the same time. And this allyship is meant to provide the space for people to engage, connect, do business together, and learn together. And we are approaching tourism from different sides. We're working with travelers as well for the time being, providing them with our journal. I'm sure some of you heard about it, some haven't. We've recently published a book, which is a diary, which is like a travel guide with some blank pages, which is a very approachable way of explaining what transformational travel is. And it's very beautiful because it invites you to travel differently. It invites you to introspect, to pact internally and externally and prepare as such. But what's also very important for us in transformational travel is that this experience doesn't start when we are taking the plane. It starts well before. And apparently, the majority of joy associated with a travel process happens before we even depart. And sociologists say it's 50% of that joy that's happening before. And why this is relevant to us as travel professionals, we may ask. Well, this is a window of some big opportunities that very often are overlooked or just skipped. This is the time when we can really influence our travelers' choices, our clients' behavior. This is a time when they are excited, when they are happy and ready to do things differently, to adapt some new habits. And that's why we put so much importance in transformational travel to the preparation stage, as well as the stage when the travelers are already back. This is a time when we need to continuously support them, provide them with the opportunities to reconnect to the places and people they've been to, not only by contributing financially, but also in keeping that content, that contact, and supporting those people, spreading the news. This is our team. At the top, you can see our core team, so people who are involved in daily operations, my lovely friends, Amy, Tanner, and Jake. And at the bottom, you have our board of directors that we are very lucky to have alongside ourselves. Some of our partners, the Long Run, some of you might know them. This is an association of private reserves that are very, very strongly advocating for conservation, as well as commerce, culture, and community. I'm very, very lucky and very happy about having them on board as our closest partners, as well as Center for Responsible Travel, Quiet Parks International, and B Corp Travel, B Corps in the world that are recently growing very, very much along our other partners. Well, I don't want to read aloud, but this basically, well, just so that we are all clear on one thing, this is not just another trade membership. Of course, setting relationships and doing networking and doing business together At the end of the day, it's why we are here. But more than anything else, this allyship is a collaborative effort. We really want to be in this together. We don't want to go for big numbers. We don't want to get thousands allies who just get here for branding or for their badge. We really want every single ally to be engaged, to really connect to everyone. I need to know everyone, otherwise it doesn't make sense. Like this is our community is very much about high integrity as well. Very personalized approach. And we put a lot of importance on constant education and learning and improving our products, in infusing all these theories into practical, into the practical side. Yeah, just trying to, yeah. So which is quite interesting. I had a meeting, I think it was 1 year and a half ago, something like that, with the director of the Long Run, lovely Delphine. And she said, Monica, you know what? Like she's a scientist and working in conservation. She was like, you know what? We've been working with conservation and responsible tourism and for so long now, nearly 2 decades. But, you know, when I met you guys, I realized that we missed such an important beat of connection. How can we make people commit to conservation if they don't connect to those animals and peoples and environments? And this is what did touch me and also made me realize that this is this element, our little brick that transformational travel brings to tourism. We really put a lot of importance of connection. We believe that the real change comes from the inside out, from connecting to ourselves first, then to others, either our family or hosts, then the environment around us, nature, people. We cannot appreciate nature and people if we are not good within ourselves, on when we cannot talk to others, or we, I don't know, or are afraid of them or fear them. This element of connection is critical and underappreciated in today's social purpose and responsible travel movement and all the others related, we believe. And we do that by a design. We cannot promise this, as I said, we cannot sell it, but we may raise chances of this happening. Again, it's not a process. It's a process, it's not a product. And this is more or less how this works. Of course, this is very, very much simplified. So we have this preparation that starts well before, which is both internal and external. We are examining our mental luggage as well. Why we are going on these holidays, what's calling us, and how we go. Much more than just ask ourselves where we go and what we're going to be doing. Rather be like, but how I'm going to be traveling so that it's better to myself, to the hosts. It's just changing questions. It's just asking, putting emphasis on different things, but also examining where we are at. It's not egoistical. It's just exploring why we travel, why we go on these holidays, because while knowing so, we can gain so much traveling intentionally. Then we have a travel experience where lots of things are happening. We are adventuring, we are worried, we are in trouble. We have a food poisoning. There's a lot of things going on. We meet some amazing people who just out of the blue share something with us that change our lives forever. Or we just go to the mountain by ourselves and we just cannot believe what's happening. And we just some very important things struck us, and we just see clearly there's so much things going on if we allow some unexpected, when we allow real connection, when we invite some uncomfort as well. And then we believe that it's all about, again, I already said so, connecting to ourselves, others, and places is very much needed for all those processes to happen, so that we cultivate a sense of purpose and belonging that are so important in today's world. Without us connecting to the world, as to our own home, we will never, or the masses will never really start caring about it. I really love that chart. I need to check the time. The hero journey. Some of you might have heard about Joseph Campbell. What I love about it is that it mentioned that the travel consists of 2 worlds, 2 stages. One is known, one is normal, the one we are used to. But then there's so much things going on when we are on the road that can be used and then introduced to our lives when we are back. Let me skip a little bit some stuff that I already touched upon and go to some more important things. We're gonna have this in the summary anyway, so I will just skip those things. Sorry for this. So the idea is so that we use travel not only to travel better, but so that these experiences that we've had while traveling, so that they influence our life and our choices and the choices and habits and choices of our clients as well. And we believe that the experiences and processes that may happen during the travel experiences can result and influence our climate choices, our relationships with our family members, our consciousness levels, our local community engagement, all our relationships, our virtues, our mental health. These really affect all stages and all parts of our life. And there's a lot of scientific background we source from. Those are some of them, such as peak and theory, experiential learning cycle, positive psychology, neurobiology, and so on. And this is a very interesting example of that by the Kahneman, by the economist but I think sociologist who developed and revealed that peak end role that guides people's experiences, which, just to simplify, is basically about that people, and of course you can apply it to your business, that people after they complete the travel experience, what they really remember is the peak moment. So we need to make sure that the travel experience that you provide has got that peaks. No matter if sometimes, there's something bad happens, you really need to make sure that you provide those peaks, for example, when people arrive, in the middle of a trip, and most importantly, at the end of it, so that people can really associate some good feelings with you, of your company, and also have an overall meaningful and positive experience. Those are just some examples. I'm going to share this presentation with you, so don't worry if somebody thought that you might be missing something. I'm going to share that with you. And some important might sound quite simple, but what we do, we follow the path. And by this, we means that we really put a lot of importance, I'm probably saying that the third time, to the preparation stage. Then there's adventure, think, which involves and invites reflectioning, which is very important. We cannot achieve anything without that. And we really want to encourage people whenever they are traveling to have some time for reflection. So many people look distractions all the time, but we really, when our designers, whenever they plan the trip, they incorporate purposely some elements of a trip so that people are alone, so that they can reflect and then share with others and honor. We also are guided by a few things, such as with a HEART acronym, which goes for being humble, empty cup mentality, coming somewhere without expectations, with curiosity, being engaged, awake, resilient, happy to take on challenges, and most importantly, grateful. It's such a powerful feeling, isn't it? To be grateful. And of course, we've been talking about travelers quite a lot. We all are travelers, but how this can influence my work. So by introducing some of those tools, you can, of course, raise an engagement of your guests, ensure referrals, bring loyalty, and enhance and align the purpose in between you and your guests. And here are some of the other features that our allyship comes with. And it also includes your profile at our main networking and education platform, which is in the Mighty Networks. Of course, you get a searchable company profile with your links, with your videos, with your photos that are visited by either trade or travelers. You also get an access to the world-class journalists writing to New York Times, National Geographic, Condé Nast, you call it. And also those journalists organize monthly a session for you where you can you can tune in and ask questions. They are giving tips how you can tell your story of your company so that you are heard, so that other travel journalists may want to talk about you and write about you, which is quite practical and very well attended. Of course, it's run by the regular contributor to the New York Times, Alex Crever. We have another ally feature that is the Herald speeching. So we organize monthly salons and we invite allies who go an extra mile to share with our journalists about their work. Of course, we cannot promise that this is going to be used in a magazine, but of course, this is a great opportunity for our allies to pitch to our wonderful journalists. And there's a lot of other benefits, but as I told you, I will share that presentation with you later on so that you can explore it further. We also, maybe that's a good moment to mention, we also have, for those who want to dig even deeper, I want to really have not only get to know about how to use it in practice, which is quite important already, but also our main course, which lasts 4 months, is very interactive. It requires at least 10 hours a week, so it's not for everyone really. But this program is for 80 people a year only. And what's quite interesting about it, that during that 4 months, you are not working to get a badge. You are actually working on your own product that you can then sell, that infuses all these theories. And you work with your companions so that they keep you motivated, you cannot fall behind. And you end up having an actual product that's also going to be featured in our marketplace, where travelers come to look for trips like this. We recently launched our transformative destinations program, which is aimed at destinations who are already far along the path of sustainability, but are looking for ways and principles and processes and community to support their journey towards regeneration. And we just launched it, and we already have a few pilot destinations, which are going to be our first clients for this. And the first one is Visit Oregon State in US. I've also to read at your leisure, I've also hyperlinked some actual transformational travel in practice itineraries from our allies, so that you can take a look and actually see how they are different from all the others. And I hope you're going to find them interesting. This is a journal video, but unfortunately we don't have a time, but it's going to be there in the presentation for those who have not watched it yet. Well, let's wrap up, conscious of time, 1 minute to go. Well, so what this transformational travel is very much about. So it's not a product or a transaction. It's rather than a transaction, it's a process, it's a practice. We want people to be actively engaged rather than just passively entertained. We're asking questions such as why we travel and how we do so, rather than just where we go and what we do. Transformation cannot be solved, cannot be promised, cannot be. It's not something we can promise will happen. But what we really can do is to raise chances for each traveler to go through those processes themselves. But ultimately, of course, it all depends on them. The main goal of all of this we are talking about today, for us at least, it's using intentional travel so that we cultivate pro-environmental and pro-social behaviors that hopefully result in increased belonging and stewardship in this beautiful planet that I think needs that more than anything else. And we are going from this place of entitlement, exploitation, expectations, and solely entertainment towards tourism, which is more ethical, ecological, empathetic, and equitable. Those are some quotes that you can then read at your leisure from Global Wellness Summit that actually has started to use a very similar language and identified the same processes, the same needs, the same demands, which is very encouraging. And I really want to share that quote with you. Lars, I'm sorry because you might heard it already, but it's quite beautiful. And I think it embodies quite well what we are doing here. And please allow me to read it aloud to you. If our journey transforms ourselves only, we will have missed the true power of travel. The transformation must extend to the people, places, and cultures we travel to. Without this, the journey becomes a selfish pursuit. And some next steps as well for those who are interested. I also attached some links for your, in case you are interested to explore further. The first one contains the 6 pages from our journal. We have some guiding practices that we use. I also hyperlink the documentary about Joseph Campbell and Hero Journey, which is available for free at YouTube. It's 1 hour, a beautiful 1 hour, 120 minutes of journeying into the hero journey, into the Joseph Campbell's work, and I really encourage you to watch it with your family. It's one of the most beautiful documentaries I ever watched, and I watched quite a few. I really encourage you to check it out. And also The Art of Pilgrimage, the book by our advisor Phil Cousineau, who apparently is Joseph Campbell was his mentor. They were working together, and so we are very lucky to have Phil with us to guide us through that journey. And thank you very much. I took quite a lot of time, I believe. I really wanted to allow some time for questions. And if you still are available for a few minutes, I'm happy to extend it for 5 minutes. And then I have to run. But thank you very much for your attention. I hope I was able at least to explain what we are guided by and where we are at. Of course, I was not even able to tell you about our other projects and research and all the other stuff, exciting stuff happening here at the Transformational Travel Council. But I just hope you get a feeling of who we are, what we do and how we do and what's important to us and what you can expect from joining if you wish. So thank you again. And I would like to invite you to ask some questions.
I'm impressed.
You're gonna make me cry. Please.
Nah, you rock it, man. There is 4 people listening. I'm flashed. Your energy is just amazing. It's transforming. It's transforming. So thank you. And love it. And thank you. There was much more in that presentation that I saw last time because I came late. I had to leave before because it was short notice. I really think it's a lot of in it. Yeah, really appreciate it.
I'm glad. Thank you very much for your kind words. It's makes me emotional.
So I'll go next. Monica, amazing. And this just kind of validates for me that this is the right group because it just aligns what I deeply believe in the kind of people that I think and the way you guys are bringing together this program. It's really, really encouraging, and I think the whole mission of bringing like-minded people together, helping them connect with one another for business, the missing link that you talked about. I truly believe that, it's got to be around an ecosystem, right? No individual company can change the world. It's like-minded people who come together, support each other, that come and have that honesty and integrity. So, there's a lot in the presentation. So I think once I have the deck, I'll be able to study it more. But no questions, but really amazing. I'm just so happy I was here for the presentation. Thank you.
So happy you were here with me as well. I love those meetings. Thank you very much for taking the time and for your encouraging and rewarding feedback. And feel welcome to join us, of course.